everyone, this is Yana Smakula for StmpTember.com. Welcome back for another Yippee for Yana video. Today I have not one, not two, and not even three, but 5 one-layer modern Christmas card ideas that you can make. These are very simple, they don't require a ton of supplies or special skills, and most important, they are one layer, so easy to pop in an envelope and mail to your friends or colleagues. You will need just a handful of things to create these cards, starting with colored cardstock of your choice. I'm using various colors from Simon Says Stamp. Embossing powder in gold and white. You'll also need other supplies that you usually use for heat embossing. A white pen to add accents. Nuvo jewel drops in bright and cheerful colors, and I have 6 different colors here. You'll also need Nuvo drops in gloss white to add dimensional white dots. And finally, you'll need clear stamps, of course. I'm using 4 stamp sets for these cards, starting with the Critter Sweaters, Winter Scene, Tiny Words Christmas, and Festive Trees. Let's get started. I'm going to gold heat emboss a string of lights and a sentiment that reads, "May your Christmas dreams come true," onto this light blue cardstock panel. All of the supplies I'm using today are listed below in the video description, so be sure to check there if you'd like to know specific color of cardstock or Nuvo drops that I'm using for my projects today. I've treated my paper with an anti-static powder tool. I inked up my stamps with Versamark clear sticky ink, and I stamped these 2 images onto my panel twice just to make sure I have a good ink transfer. I'm using my Mini Misty stamp positioner tool today that allows me to do double stamping when needed, but these cards can be just as easily stamped using clear blocks. I've coated my images with gold embossing powder and just going to preheat my heat tool and melt the powder. Less is more with these simple and modern Christmas cards, so try to avoid adding a ton of stuff onto your projects. Go with a simple but meaningful sentiment and 1 or 3 images to make a little scene. You can add in the rest using tools such as a white pen or Nuvo drops to spice up the card design. Here, I'm using a white pen to add little dashes next to every other light to make it appear as if the lights are lit. This is a simple trick, but it adds a lot to this minimalistic card design. Use your Nuvo jewel drops to coat each of the lights. I'm using red, orange, green, yellow, and purple drops here to make my lights multicolor. Once the drops are dry, adhere your panel onto an A2 white card base, and this card is done. You can try using another color of cardstock for your background and another color of embossing powder for the heat embossing to make this design your own. Moving on to card number 2. Start by heat embossing a little scene using a tree cluster and deer images on red cardstock. Once again, I'm using gold embossing powder here. I also stamped and heat embossed a little border made out of tiny vertical lines. This border will help me form a snow globe for this card. The border will be the base of the globe, and I'll add in the circle above it using Nuvo drops in white. Here I'm using a round object to trace the circle above my border to mimic the snow globe. I'm using a white pen here to have an actual border. You can also use a pencil and later erase the pencil line to have no visible border to your snow globe. Next, use your white pen to color one of the images white. I'm coloring the Christmas trees as I want them to look as if they are covered in snow. Adhere your panel onto an A2 white side-folding card base, and next use Nuvo drops in gloss white to create falling snow. Add more dots towards the top and less dots at the bottom of your snow globe. Additionally, you can use a white pen to draw in the snowy hills under your scene elements. Once again, you can change the color of the cardstock you use for the background of this card, and maybe skip doing a snow globe, but create a heart or an ornament shape instead using a pen and Nuvo drops. Moving on to card number 3. Start by heat embossing a sentiment that reads, "We wish you a Merry Christmas" on fog cardstock. It is best to use non-white paper, but also paper that is fairly light to have it alter the colors of ink that you'll use for stamping as little as possible. Next, use a tiny triangle stamp to stamp a ton of triangles onto the background. Once done, these will look like colorful trees. And we will also add decorations to some of them to emphasize the fact that those are trees and not triangles even more. I encourage you to always look at your stamps in a different way. Have a simple triangle image? How else can you use it besides it being just a triangle? You can even go ahead and stamp a 2-tier or even a 3-tier tree by layering these triangles one on top of another and have your trees differ not only in color but also in size. Here I use 6 colors of ink and stamp trees in each color about 5 to 7 times to fill the entire background. I made sure not to go outside the edge when creating this tree pattern for my card. You can alter this simple card design by choosing a different placement for your sentiment. I stamped mine in the center, but you can have yours closer to the top or closer to the bottom. Once the stamping is done, I'm using my white pen once again to add decorations to the trees or the triangles to make some of them look like actual Christmas trees. You can also use your Neenah drops here and add little bubbles onto some of the triangles to make them look like festive little trees. Moving on, card idea number 4. To create this card, I heat embossed the tree made out of circles and then colored some of the circles using a white pen and other circles using Neenah drops in green. You can also heat emboss the tree on a different color of cardstock, like this dark gray for example, and color each circle using a different color of jewel drops to make your tree multicolor. For my idea number 5, I took a dotted border stamp. I curved it to make it look like it was a string of lights and stamped repeatedly covering the front of an A2 card. I also heat embossed the sentiment following the curve of the lights, and finally I added a bunch of color using Neenah jewel drops. Here is another look at all of my one-layer modern Christmas card designs. I hope you guys will give this idea a try. If you do make a card inspired by this video, would love it if you shared your project online and tagged us on social media. We always enjoy seeing what you make. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up and to subscribe to this channel if you haven't yet done so. Thanks so much for joining me. I'll see you next time. Bye!